Hey everyone, welcome back to Scripture Study with Smithy. Today I'm going to read from Matthew chapter 13. There's a few parables in here which I hadn't spoken about before, but I wanted to mention today. So we're kind of going back a little bit from our study, but that's okay. So we're starting in chapter 13, verse 31. And Jesus says, Matthew says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. But when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Okay, so the kingdom of heaven starts off small. One grain planted in the field, which we learned earlier was the field is the world, and it grows so that it becomes so big that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. So, and you can kind of see that that's happened, right? The kingdom of heaven has spread from just Jesus and his apostles to going right through the world, and billions of people today worship God and love Jesus Christ and are trying to prepare for the kingdom of heaven which is coming. Okay, so another parable, verse 33 says, and another parable spake he unto them, the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things which have been kept hidden or kept secret from the foundation of the world. So Jesus is actually fulfilling the prophecy as well in teaching in parables, revealing things that have been kept secret. Well, at least not taught to anyone, right? So the kingdom of heaven is likened unto leaven, which he hid in 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. So it's interesting. Verse 44 is another one. And again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field. Now that's interesting. It's about how much you treasure the gospel there. This person, a man found a treasure in a field, and he sold all that he had to go and buy the field, so that he could have that treasure, obviously. So I guess that's a good thing to look at ourselves. Well, how much are we willing to give up to have the treasure of the gospel, have the blessings that Jesus Christ has offered to us, the grace and the mercy, his atonement, sacrifice that he made for us. Also the treasures in heaven that he has promised the faithful. And I guess this is another version of it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who when he hath found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Okay, so a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, and he finds this pearl of great price, and he sold all that he had so that he could purchase it. Interesting. We need to ask ourselves, I guess, again, like, how important is it for us? How much are we willing to put aside or give up or sell so that we can have that pearl of great price? Just a personal story. So when I came to start attending church, and I decided to serve a mission for 2 years, there was a it was quite interesting to see the responses of friends, and you kind of lose your friends, is what I'm saying. You kind of lose the social connections that you had because you're putting God um, as a more of a priority in your life. And so anyone who does that will find that they have some friends who will be loyal to the end regardless. But generally speaking, you'll find that a lot of people will distance themselves from you because they don't want to be involved in it. They don't want to know about it. They don't want you preaching to them. They don't want any of that. So they just kind of no longer associate with you. And doesn't mean you don't love them, but it's just sad that that happens. Verse 40, what did I read? 45, 46. 47 to 50 is the gospel net. And it says, and the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea, and gathered of every kind, which, when it was full, they drew to shore, and sat down, and gathered the good into vessels, but cast away the bad. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Interesting after that last one, because having been a missionary, you kind of see, you do teach. We taught everybody. We taught people in the street. We taught people in their houses. We taught people in their churches. Like you're teaching all the time, and you're testifying of Jesus Christ and doing the best you can to represent him and to serve him. And then so the people come into the church. They're not all going to stay, but the Lord is gathering whoever will listen and will come. And this is the whole parable of the wheat and the tares we covered a little while ago, like the same thing. They rise up together, and then at the end of the world, at the end of the angels will come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. So, you can kind of tell, people's level of conversion, commitment, sacrifice that they make for the Lord. You can kind of tell where people are at, but it's not for us to judge, right? It's up to God to judge. And I guess it's our job to be an example, to teach, to share, to lift, help people to come onto that right side, so that when that net is gathered, when they are sorting out the fish in that net, that they end up on the right side with the good. Okay, and lastly, let's finish on this. So verse 51, Jesus saith unto them, have ye understood all these things? They say unto him, yea, Lord. Then he said unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which bringeth forth out of his treasure things new and old. That's a bit cryptic, that one. All right, so interesting. Jesus asked them, do they understand what these parables are trying to teach? Does his disciples understand? Because it's important for his disciples to get it, because they're the ones who are going to be carrying the flame after he's ascended into heaven. They're going to be carrying the gospel to the world, so they need to understand what he's teaching and how he's teaching it, so they can, like he says, a householder which will bring forth out of his treasure old things, new and old. So they already knew the Hebrew text. They already knew the promises that the Messiah was going to come. Now they're learning new things, that Jesus is the Messiah, that this is his gospel. This is what he's teaching them is a bit more than what he's teaching is different to what the Jews in the Old Testament were expected to adhere to. So, and you see this as you go through the New Testament. Paul mentions this a few times about the conflicts he had trying to change people's view from the old law to the new law. It seemed to be quite prevalent that people would hold on to some of the traditions, cultures, or just viewpoints that the old law had, and not totally embrace the new one and forget about that. Anyway, so that's quite interesting. I hope you learned something from Matthew chapter 13. There's a lot in there. Go through and read it again yourselves. And if you have any comments or interesting insights about those, please put them in the comments. Cheers. Enjoy your study.